Hello everyone, welcome to my Thursday night restorative, or if it's not night time for you, then welcome to Thursday. I'm really looking forward to tonight and speaking of on a topic and moving in a way that is going to help the female, I suppose, side physically, but definitely perhaps help the males understand us a little bit better. And that is our a practice to help with either menstrual cramping, pain, lower back pain, or that sciatica, and hamstrings, glutes, lower back soreness that we all experience, and of course that general heaviness and discomfort that we experience at least once a month. If it's more, I certainly really feel that, I suppose, pain for you, and if there's, whether it's the menopause, pre-menopause, and all these lovely things our female bodies do to us, hopefully this practice certainly helps you work through some of that uneasiness as well. And I guess when, we really need to trust our bodies when this time of the month comes around for us. I think over time we start to learn about when it's possibly going to hit us, if we're supposed to be expecting it and it doesn't come along on time. We need to learn to trust our inner gut and intuition and reading the signs of what our body is trying to tell us. And it used to be one of those really embarrassing things that happen. It's really hard to talk about. However, if we can look at it in a different space where our body is going into an absolute rebirthing and recreation of a life cycle within our own humanness. So, I know those that, and I've got older friends that are going through menopause at this time, and it's something that we need to just trust the process. Our body does things for a reason, and the more we try and fight, the cramps, the pain, we draw it out through our emotional responses, the harder and the more difficult it tends to be, and the more pain subconsciously we tend to hold on to. So tonight, with our restorative practice, we're going to acknowledge, our body, even if it's not that time of the month for you. I empathize with you if it is. We can listen to what our body needs and trust the process. So constantly, if we get hot and sweaty, we pull the jumper off. If we get cold, we put the heater on. If we, get cranky, we start to, get all fluffed and fussy and, a little bit hasty and short at people. We need to stop and just acknowledge what's happening, have a bit of acceptance, and trust the process. And any gentlemen out there that might be joining me, empathize with a woman and, maybe share some of these practices and go, hey, how about you chill out and just take some time to rest and acknowledge what's kind of going on, and I'm here if you need me, because we don't want you to fix it because we know you can't. So just empathize with a woman that might be around you, hopefully not in your immediate vicinity. That's going to probably give you a backhand across the head at some point. But yeah, we're going to work on the floor a lot tonight, like what restorative is, but the lower body, even, on a Thursday night in this kind of weather, if it's raining near you, we can feel quite heavy and just, quite over it really. So we will stay mostly seated, but you might not be able to go as far as you normally would, with your movement, your end range through exercises or asanas. So again, don't force it, trust the process, and like I say in every practice, breathe if you don't do anything else. So It's good to see some of the names pop up, and I certainly hope you can join in with me tonight as well. So wherever you are in this crazy little world. So find your little spot, bring yourself over to a seated position. You can use a wall, grab your props or your bolsters, and we're going to start in cobbler's pose, which is sitting up and just bind your soles of your feet together. So a beautiful way to start, especially even if you've just been on your feet all night, all day, where the legs are heavy, the hips might be tight. And although I do, often say, it's all about stacking and being upright, especially, through this week of, a life cycle literally within our body that's going on. Allow your body to rest without over compensating and making it unsafe. Just settle into cobbler's pose here, butterflying the knees, relaxing the shoulders, and just softening your brow and a gentle tuck of the chin, and allow the body to move into a deep breathing process. Even if your first couple of breaths is out through your mouth, trust the process. So allow your knees to fall out to the side. Allow your lower back maybe to feel a little bit extra space or reach. There's nothing worse than having that real heaviness through those back of the legs, maybe sciatica. It's a big killer through that menstrual cycle. The hips adjusting, the cramping, just the uneasiness of it all. But there are ways we can soften into this week or this cycle, the phase that you might be going through. Put on some soft music, just stay where you are. Long drawn out exhales. Start making it through your nose if you can, so your jaw becomes soft. If you need a bolster underneath your hips here or a block, please do that as well. So if you do feel like you're still like this, sit up on a bolster or even just a pillow or cushion, just for that little bit of height. We're just opening the hips up, relaxing through the groin and the hip flexors, creating some space and easing that tension with all that increased blood flow, activation, oxygen going to the side, maybe inflammation. Wearing looser clothing, so some baggy knits, just some soft leggings, nothing too tight around the belly. All those little nice touches that make you feel comfortable. And so I certainly hope behind the screen here tonight you are either in your jammies, in your homewares, your baggy trackies, and feeling completely at ease with yourself. And leave your right foot in place as you slowly extend your left, and just aligning your left toe up with the rest of your shin. Again, nothing excessive here. If again you need a block underneath your hips, go for it. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. And just a head, we're going to move into a head to knee pose. So just To start off with, it's almost like your hips are a bowl, and as you tilt forward, you're tipping that bowl over. And so a gentle hinging here through those hips. And again, if you have a bolster, you might want to just stack some pillows on there to make it a little bit more restorative. And just folding forward, relaxing down on your exhale. So release as you come down. Just feel into that lower back. So, you know, we don't usually go for that really rounded position, but, you know, through this week where everything's so tight anyway, sometimes it's good to just sit into it. But if you're after more reach, that comes from the hips. All right. You can always change or move the height. So if you feel yourself getting a little bit more softer through the back, through the hamstrings, again, we're working through the inner thigh of that bent leg and the groin, definitely the hamstrings through that straight leg, and the calf as well. So the more you flex into that foot, or even if you can reach that foot, maybe just a towel or a strap, if you do want that, something a little bit more edge onto it. Flex that foot back, and you, again, it's so interesting how the body can seize up and change for 7 days and then go back to, you know, I don't know if you remember that little green Gumby guy that was so elastic, it wasn't funny. Some days I feel like that, other days I feel like I'm just a twig about to break. So working into the back of that calf as well. You know, don't be afraid to, you know, give yourself a little bit of a massage, you know, through the calves, soften through the muscles, work the thumbs into the shin, so drawing back up towards the knee. A bit of self-care can go a long way, you know, especially when, you know, we can't go to those regular beauty parlors, massage places, physios, especially financially these days, but also, you know, what do you call essential when our holistic health should be the most important thing to us? So if we can learn to provide it ourselves, the merrier we can be. When you're ready, on your inhale, it brings you up. So use your hands to help support, but again, go from the hips as opposed to curling up. Go from the hips, sit up, inhale. Then just take a breath or a moment to find just that neat alignment through your spine. Maybe just massage out a little bit through the hips. Keep everything slow and soft. There is absolutely no rush whatsoever. No effort. There's no expectation. You know, we don't need you to be doing, you know, multiple repetitions, multiple breaths, or be at a certain speed. You can find your inner sloth. I like watching Zootopia, it's pretty funny. But even if it feels like you're one, channel into your inner sloth and just be slow. Your exhale slowly takes you down to the other side when you're ready. Again, you can use the bolster You can have a block maybe even just to sit on the shin or just onto your thigh, where your chest, you can either lean through your chest, your shoulders, your forehead. The only thing I will say with your foot alignment is to flex it back to begin with, just so it's not pulling your knee in, okay, or pulling that knee out and therefore externally rotating your hip. So do flex that toe back in line and then allow it to rest in position. Envision your breath going down through your spine into that lower back here and nourishing your hips, nourishing your pelvis, your belly, all those areas that give you grief over this time. Jumpers, that floppy, I'm getting caught in it. Just acknowledge where you still might be, one, either holding tension, or two, the body is still really tight, or, you know, there's some form of resistance. So, you know, if there is that pain in the lower back, you know, maybe feel into that for a little bit. Breathe into the back of the ribs, or soften, you know, or change the depth of your Asana. You know, so even if it's just up here and you're just working through your neck, because that could be really tight for you. You know, the feet might be swollen by the end of the day. Again, you know, whilst you sit here, you can run your fingers or your thumbs up your shins, maybe, you know, to the outside of your knees. Maybe thank your legs for holding you up all day, or keeping you underneath the, you know, the feet being underneath the desk, keeping you in that chair all day. Maybe getting you from place to place to achieve tasks or jobs, or racing around, picking kids up, filling cars up with fuel, going to shops, or being in the yard, who knows. We don't often praise ourselves or our body, which is the actual machine that allows us to produce the products that we do. So, yeah. And when you're ready, slowly bring yourself up on your inhale. And we'll go to a seated straddle. So you might want either a wall here, so if you are really tight, again, it could even just be leg day that makes you tired. It could be sitting underneath a desk, or not sitting under the desk, sitting at a desk. That makes you really tight. So even just sitting tall here through the shoulders, this could be enough for you. But if you'd like to soften forward, have a bolster, have a stack of pillows, have pillows and a block. And again, picture your hips as a bowl. So a bowl of water that as you come forward, you're tilting the bowl, not just rounding through the upper back. So as you come forward, we're tilting, we're rotating the hips, and we're exhaling and we're softening here. And you can relax through that support by having the ability to raise the floor up. So the block can do so. So your forehead would go to the block, arms to either side. Or if you have the ability to do so without pulling those feet in, you can't see it on the video here, but you'll probably get the gist of your feet rocking in. Again, just change the depth. Let's use your hands. So you have your elbows on here, make a little cup. And close your eyes down. So we're really channeling those hamstrings and that lower back tonight. Another thing that, you know, our menstrual cycle brings on is a lot of nerve action. So, you know, you might feel real neural, so that sciatica, even if you're sitting in a posture or asana, you might actually feel numbness a lot quicker because everything's just tightening up, everything's thickening up. And I'm pretty sure most of you might know what I mean. Allow your breath to calm the mind, the body. It's just that real softness that comes over you as you exhale every time. It's like every little area and corner of your humanist just softens and releases that little bit more. Are you holding tension into your kneecaps? You know, are you pulling those legs up? Are you trying to sit through those hips as opposed to just rolling and relaxing into the hips? Are you still flexing your toes back towards your shins? Or are you actually holding yourself up through your shoulders? Even we can still stay long through our spine by length or reach without like holding that tension and pushing and actively leaning into our arms or pushing our feet into the ground. And that just comes down to time, awareness, letting go. Really slowly coming out of this one. So take your time on your inhale. Bringing that bowl back to an even level with those hips. And then slowly bending through the knees and just worming your legs back through the center. And so do a seated forward fold. And you can make this two different ways. You can have bent knees here with a block underneath. Again, all depends on how you feel. And so having the knees raised, of course, allows that greater length through their hamstrings, and bringing your toes back towards your shins. You can hold through here. So again, if you want that upper back opening, you can have that here as well. By pulling forward, again, tilting that bowl, roll that bowl, let the water come out, being your hips. And then bringing your way forward and open through that back. Work into the lower spine as well. Alternatively, if you have greater range of movement, your legs can be straight. Ooh, that is tight, that one. And again, this could just be you here, and you could be leaning against a wall, or you could have the soles of your feet against the wall, which changes the whole dynamics of the hamstrings and the lower back as well. So you can be here with your hands to your feet if it's available, or again, bring that bolster or all those pillows on top of your legs and fold your way forward. Anywhere that you are, try and have a prop or something where you can rest into your head, so you're not having to, you know, actively hold that neck. Especially for restorative, we want to relax, we want to let go. And a lot of where the tension is held is in our neck and shoulders. So to ease our stress levels, have something for the head. Here's one I prepared earlier. There's so many little visualization techniques you can use here. Depends how in depth you want to get with it, I suppose. You know, you can almost feel like, you know, it's a cleansing process for you. It's a, you know, a wash and get rid of. You know, maybe it's a new beginning or a new phase. You know, maybe it's, you know, flowers and they're blossoming into spring, coming to the end of winter. You know, we can use our mind, which is so powerful, through meditation or mindfulness to help rechannel or refocus or create new pathways within the body, which in turn helps us switch from that negativity to more of a positive outlook or way of thinking. When things like, you know, that time of the month can really drag us down. We get snappy, we get short, we get frustrated because we feel like shite. We feel heavy, we feel ugly, we feel, you know, so many different things. But if we can reframe our mind and we trust the process, it can change our whole outlook and level of comfort through that week. Now there's one more asana you can do or you don't have to do, depends on how you feel, but a little bit of extension into our lower spine. So again, if you've got back soreness, we can do a supported bridge. If not, I'll show you the next one, which is our reclined cobblers pose. So always inhaling to move out of an asana. But to bring yourself around into a supported bridge, we lay down with our knees bent. We tilt our pelvis back towards the head. So again, think of that hips as a bowl of water. And again, have some pillows or a block handy. And plant your feet into the floor as you push yourself up. And again, just change, think about the depth that you want to go. Normally you might sit really high in this, in a yoga practice. But for this time of month, when the back is so tight and it's pulling, just change and go to the lower setting. So maybe that in between, like the flutter one. Place it through the lower back. Keep your knees bent. Maybe a hand on the belly, hand on the chest. Biggest thing with when you're on your menstrual cycle is to not do inversions. The only one you would do is maybe legs up the wall. Okay, but stay away from inversions for obvious reasons. We want gravity to help things go out, not head back up. So you can either do this asana if you like. If you don't wish to, that's completely fine. So you can do the reclined cobbler, so either soles of the feet together, knees apart, lay down. Again, bringing those hips back towards the head, so keep that bowl from tilting now, so keep it stable. You can be flat on the floor, or you can use your bolster or pillows. So you got the choice of either or you can do both. So I'll do a little bit of the bridge. Just eases out that lower back. Oh, and here's an eye pillow one I prepared earlier. Chuck that on your eyes. If you've got an eye pillow, if not, really good to invest in one. Or just make one up. Pillowcase, heat pack, a folded t-shirt. And for each asana, you might be wondering, like, how long do you stay in it? Maybe to begin with, if it's your first time ever doing restorative, 2 minutes to 3. Otherwise, generally 3 to 4 minutes. If you're only doing maybe 1 to 3 postures or exercises, you could stay for 5 minutes, but just watch which ones they are, because you can get either numbness or decreased circulation, like legs up the wall. Gravity might send everything back to the head. But the general rule of thumb is 3 to 4 minutes in any posture, or 5 to 10 breaths. So when you're ready, you can press your feet into the earth if you're in the supported bridge. Tail comes up, remove the block, curl the spine down first. Take a breath before you butterfly the knees, or if you want more of a restorative and hip opener, chuck that bolster under your back. If you would like extension in your spine, go for it, but exhale very gently, lowering down. There's a crack, crack, crack then. Depending on the depth, so pillows would be less extension. Alternatively, bring the whole body onto that bolster. Butterfly the knees. And this is our last asana, so get comfy. Arms can be completely out to the side for a beautiful heart chest opener. Or if you want tension taken off the legs and the back, pyramid your knees, so feet go wider, knees come together like a triangle. Takes the pressure off your lower back, takes any effort out of the hips and the legs. completely leave you, love you and leave you in this beautiful restorative reclined cobbler's pose. To breathe easy, to think freely, and to be completely at rest. Trusting the process. Your body will tell you how long you would be here for. But always remembering that if you are, once you are laying down and to come out of Shavasana, and especially to keep with a restorative practice, move to your left hand side. So you would roll off to your left to keep facing into you guys. I'll just go to my right, but knees together only when you're ready. Roll into that beautiful ball. Knees come up. And your end of your practice, whenever you choose to do so, can be at a comfortable seat or it can be finished in that nice beautiful fetal position. You can stay either in Shavasana or reclined cobbler's pose for as long as you like. If you're up in your bed, you can go straight to sleep, hopefully feeling so relaxed, fresh and recharged for tomorrow. Or you can choose to sit, you know, with yourself and your presence for the next couple of minutes, you know, hands at heart center, telling yourself 3 things that you are grateful for today. You know, maybe a positive affirmation. So what went well today for you? Or maybe there was something that someone did for you today that you are, you know, either surprised about, humble for, or, you know, very thankful for. Or is there something that you can do tomorrow to help someone out? Whether it's leave a note in someone's lunchbox, you know, pen to a piece of paper and write a letter. Maybe it's buying that coffee for the person behind you in the line. Or it's carrying a bag of groceries or opening a door. Of course, keeping social distancing. But it's that sense of appreciation and just, you know, we need more love and kindness to ourselves and to share that with others. You know, it's not often you hear people thanking you for what you do or appreciating what you do. You know, we actually tell people off or identify poor behavior before we're rewarding good behavior. So tell someone tomorrow, or let your kids know tonight, your partner, a loved one, text a friend, and just tell them how much you appreciate them and that they're doing a good thing. So on that, let go of everything, including all the stuff that comes out of you over this next coming week or whenever it is, and trust the process. We're all going to be okay, and you guys are awesome. So thank you very much once again. Have a good evening, good night, and love to all. Namaste.